Steer program actually began in 1957 when 4 or 5 farmers and ranchers up in North Dakota got together and they decided that they would buy some grass cattle in the spring. They had extra pasture. And they decided that the money they made off of those cattle when they sold them in the fall, they would donate to missions. And that's how the program began. Looking back, how did we get involved? We got involved with the Steer program because we saw it as a way that we could support missions in a way that we could not do before. Everyone knows in agriculture that agriculture is capital intensive but cash poor, and so this is a really creative way for us to help to support missions. It allows the farmer or the rancher to use what we already have, which is time, our talents, our equipment, the land that we are already using, is to use it to help missions. We can tithe our time, our resources. With Steer, you don't notice that extra 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 head of cows that you're running with your own. My wife and I, we attend a Village Missions Church. We were married there. We are a product of Village Missions and believe very much in what Village Missions does in going to rural America to provide pastoral leadership in places where churches are closing or churches are closed. When Village Missions first came to our church in Nisland, our church was on the verge of closing. There's only maybe 4 or 5 people that were attending. They didn't know what to do, and they basically stumbled across Village Missions. Village Missions came and provided pastoral leadership, full-time leadership that church had not had for years and years. And now the church is still continuing on. Our church is now self-supporting, and we are able to help others so that they can have the same experience of what we have had. Personally, we help to support our district representative for Village Missions, and he tells us, he said that Steer check always comes in at just the right time. We need to put tires on the car. We burn tires off our car like crazy on these gravel roads that we drive a lot of, and there's story after that where we receive in the Steer office where we hear back from missionaries that said that Steer check came at just the right time and we were able to do this in our ministry because it's an incredibly stable means of support for those missionaries. The cow-calf program is the most commonly used project that's used in the Steer program. What will happen is that we will place a cow on your farm or ranch, and that cow will become part of your herd. We try and work regionally so that we're not moving resources around a lot because that costs a lot. If you want to use one of your own cows out of your own herd, Steer will purchase that from you. When you market your own calves and you market that Steer animal with the rest, then when that calf is sold, then those funds then will be sent to Steer, and then they are sent back to the home office of Village Missions where they are dispersed from there. So those funds are not part of your local income. When the projects are sold, they are marketed in the name of Steer, so those funds are not coming through your local accounts and not adding to your tax liabilities with the IRS or your state. So when those projects are sold, there is no tax burden to you as a producer. And then the cow is rebred, she continues on and produces another offspring for the next year. And hopefully you can get a large number of years out of these cows and keep producing a steady income for missions. There are some of these cows out here that are over 30 years old. And you may think, a 30-year-old cow, how does that happen? Well, that's the perpetuality of it, how the thing continues on and on and on. Some people will say, well, I'll just raise a cow on my own and bypass the Steer process. But I talk to many producers that say that, it's a couple, 3 years down the road, well, how many cattle are you raising now for missions? Well, we haven't gotten started yet. But with this program, you can get started right now, and you can have a livestock project on your property or on your place that you can contribute to missions in a way that you could not have imagined ever possible.